No one, absolutely no one, can give you a more electrifying fight like Nate Diaz does. Nate Diaz is one of the most famous fighters in the world of MMA. He's best known for his massive rivalry with Conor McGregor and their epic bouts. To fully understand Nate's rise as a brutal MMA fighter, you need to know where he comes from and his humble beginning, knowing that fighting was probably his only way of making it out. This video will reveal in-depth stories about Nate's life, but be sure to stick to the very end where we talk about his luxurious lifestyle, net worth, and salary for being such a fantastic entertainer in the octagon. Without further ado, let's begin. Nate Diaz, whose real name is Nathan Donald Diaz, was born on the 16th of April 1985 in Stockton, California, to a Mexican-American family. Nate grew up in a little house located in Lodi, just north of Stockton. The arrogant Nate we see today was a lot to do with the neighborhood and the kind of life he was exposed to as a kid. He grew up in the kind of environment where violence was the order of the day. Nate was influenced by this as a child. He got into so many fights, was moved from school to school, put on drugs, and even made fun of by his classmates in middle school. On top of that, his family lived below average, so he was forced to sell drugs just to cater for some of his personal needs. Nate attended Tokay High School, where he met his high school sweetheart and super hot girlfriend Stephanie. While most people could only dream of dating the hottest girl in class, Nate lived that dream. But it didn't end well. Nate frequently got into fights because of his super hot girlfriend. It wasn't like he was picking on people or anything, it was always the other way around. But what came next might be the most horrifying thing you hear today. Nate's girlfriend had just told him the night before he attended a mega high school party that she was in love with him. He was supposed to go back to her place but couldn't because something came up at the party. A few moments later, he got a call from Stephanie's mum asking him if he was with her, but he wasn't. Immediately after the call, they both went out to search for her. After going a couple of miles, they saw a bunch of police cars and an ambulance on the freeway. Apparently, Nate's girlfriend jumped in front of a car on the freeway to kill herself. According to Nate himself, he said this when opening up on the matter. "The girl I loved more than anything had tried to kill herself for the third time and succeeded." From there on, Nate became even more aggressive. He told himself there was no way he was going to college. He dropped out of school and started following his older brother, Nick, to his training gym. Nick at the time wanted to become a fighter, so Nate felt it wouldn't be such a bad idea to join in. The training gym added to Nate's frustrations rather than take them away. He was very little and was no match for the older bodybuilders and martial arts specialists. He was pushed over most of the time and at some point he hated training. But the thing is, he couldn't quit. He was broke, too embarrassed to go back to school, and didn't even want to be in stupid fights anymore. He also stuck around the gym because at the end of the training each day, the older guys would buy burritos for both Nate and his brother, so it was a way of getting free dinner every night. Before Nate knew it, he was getting huge confidence in the gym and also beating the older guys down. But in between, he would run 7 miles and back to his ex-girlfriend's grave just to promise her he would make it as a fighter, just as she knew him to be. Before he started his official MMA career, Nate Diaz competed in bare-knuckle MMA fight against Robert Limon on July 20th, 2002 at the age of 17. Upon making his official professional MMA debut, Nate competed mainly in World Extreme Cage Fighting. Then in 2006, at WEC 24, he fought for the WEC Lightweight Championship against then-champion Hermes Franca, losing by submission in the second round. This was the last event held by WEC before it was acquired by Zuffa, the then parent company of the UFC. But before he signed with the UFC, he had one of the most controversial moments in the sport of MMA under the Strikeforce promotion. Then Strikeforce middleweight contender Jason Mayhem Miller got more than he bargained for when he got into the cage to challenge Jake Shields after his win over the legendary Dan Henderson. Soon after that, things got out of control, and it led to a full-blown fight with Nate and Nick Diaz at the front and center of the action. Nate made his mark in the world of MMA when he entered the Ultimate Fighter Season 5 tournament. Nate was a contestant on the show which exclusively featured lightweights, fighting on Jens Pulver's team. He won the tournament after he defeated fellow teammate Manvel Gamburyan in the final. Despite winning the Ultimate Fighter Season 5, Nate was still ranked as a rookie in the UFC. But after going 5-0 in his UFC career, he had his first loss at the hands of Clay Guida at UFC 94. Nate, as expected, put up his best that night, but Guida's wrestling skills were just too good, leading to Nate's loss via split decision. After losing 2 of his next 3 fights, Nate considered making a permanent move up to the welterweight division. He made this decision by saying, "I don't make enough money to have to drop this much weight, so I'd like to fight at 170 and only go to 155 every once in a while." Nate made his welterweight debut in the UFC on March 27, 2010 at UFC 111. He went up against a striking specialist, Rory Markham. Markham missed weight with over 6 pounds above the weight limit. However, Nate was still ready to go on with the fight, so the bout was changed to a catchweight bout. Nate successfully won the fight via TKO. Nate Diaz fought in the welterweight division before returning to the lightweight division in 2011. But a year later, he had his first chance to be a champion. On the 8th of December 2012, he faced Benson Henderson on UFC on Fox 5 for the UFC Lightweight Championship. On that night, Henderson was the better man in the octagon and there was no disputing that. But Nate still gave it his best shot. However, he lost the one-sided bout via unanimous decision. After holding a 1-1 record with Rafael dos Anjos, where he missed weight, and Michael Johnson, where he earned the Fight of the Night bonus, the next big milestone in Nate's career was his fight against Conor McGregor. No. You need to pay close attention right now because this fight was one of a kind. It was a welterweight bout, meaning Conor had to go up from 145 pounds, which he was then the champion, to 170 pounds. For Nate, it was a return to the welterweight division. The trash talk, the action, and the pay-per-view buys all made this fight one of the best in the UFC. At UFC 196, Nate Diaz went head-to-head with Conor McGregor for the first time. To be fair, McGregor followed his game plan strictly. His left solid jab that took down Jose Aldo at UFC 194 wasn't powerful enough to knock out Nate Diaz in the first round. In the second round, Nate kept striking Conor till Conor fell to the ground, looking for a submission. But Nate maneuvered his way till he took the back of McGregor and made him tap out. Nate won the fight via a rear naked choke. He became the first man to choke out Conor McGregor. As expected, Conor wasn't ready to go down just like that. A rematch was scheduled to take place at UFC 202 just 5 months later. Conor didn't go back to defend his featherweight title. All he wanted was another shot at Nate Diaz. The trash talk between them tripled this time around. The pre-fight press conference was so intense that Nate walked off the podium while Conor started throwing bottles at him. The hype, anticipation, and stakes of this fight were high. It even took Big Uncle Dana White and a bunch of security to separate Nate and McGregor from throwing a couple of punches during the ceremonial weigh-ins. Selling over 1.6 million pay-per-view buys, the fight finally took place at T-Mobile Arena, Nevada on the 20th of August 2016. And the entire world was watching. It was a real dogfight. Both men shed sweat and blood in the octagon. But this time, Conor McGregor won via unanimous decision. After all, 5 rounds had been fought. Much respect is due to both men after putting up such an amazing performance. Moving away from his career, let's talk about Nate's lifestyle outside the octagon. But hey, if you're a new subscriber to our channel, comment "I subbed" in the comment section down below and instantly get qualified for our monthly subscribers shoutout. If you want a free shoutout in one of our next videos, then go comment "I subbed" right now. Right off the bat, Nate Diaz has earned a ton of cash for being phenomenal. As expected, his biggest payouts came from his McGregor fights. He earned $670,000 for their first encounter and a whopping $2,070,000 for their second encounter. He has total career earnings of $4,912,000 and a net worth of around $8 million. Nate has been primarily vegan since he was 18, but admits to eating fish from time to time. On June 20th, 2018, it was announced that Diaz's girlfriend had given birth to their daughter. After his loss to Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz took a 3-year break from competition, before returning to co-main event UFC 241 in a welterweight bout against Anthony Pettis. Nate totally dominated the fight. He won via unanimous decision and went on to face Jorge Masvidal at UFC 244. It was for the symbolic title of Baddest Mother Effer, aka BMF in the UFC. However, the fight was called off after Octagon side doctors intervened in the third round and deemed Nate unfit to fight further, due to the massive cuts on his face. But things didn't end there. Masvidal was leading on the judges' scorecards, so Nate wasn't really getting the win in that one anyway. He was also handed a 90-day suspension and a $20,000 fine by the UFC after he used a homophobic slur in a tweet against another UFC fighter. Once the suspension was over, Nate took some time off, and at UFC 263, he faced Leon Edwards in a fantastic 5-round fight. Sadly, he took yet another loss via unanimous decision. Nate Diaz is currently on 3 losses in 4 fights and has 1 fight left in his UFC career. Who would you like to see him go up against? Make sure you check out this other video showing on your screen, and bye for now.